I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, October the 30th, 2015. An Israeli man was stabbed today in Jerusalem. The man, said to be in his 20s, was attacked by a Palestinian near the light rail station in the neighborhood of Ammunition Hill. He was treated at the scene for stab wounds to his upper body by Magen David Adom paramedics and taken to Shaarei Tzedek Medical Center, where he was said to be in stable condition. The terrorist was shot and critically injured by Israeli security forces. He was said to be a 23-year-old resident of East Jerusalem. Another Israeli man was accidentally injured by police gunfire during the incident. He sustained injuries to his leg. Earlier today, two Palestinians tried to stab a group of border police officers at the Tapuach Junction in the West Bank. They were shot by security forces. One died of his wounds, the other was in critical condition. And violent clashes broke out between Israel police and Palestinian rioters in Ramallah today. Two Palestinians who tried to harm the troops were wounded. And last night, two Israeli women were injured in separate stone-throwing attacks, one in the West Bank, where a pregnant woman was lightly hurt when stones were thrown at her car near the Jewish settlement of Karmei Tzur. She was cut by shattered glass and taken to Shaarei Tzedek Hospital in Jerusalem. The other woman was lightly wounded as well by glass pieces when her car was hit by stones on Route 431 close to the town of Ramleh in central Israel. The woman's baby grandson, who was in the car with her at the time, was unharmed. Ukrainians gathered outside the Israeli embassy in Kiev this week in a show of solidarity for Israel during the current wave of terror. Jewish and non-Jewish organizations organized and took part in the gathering, which was held on Wednesday, holding banners that read "No to Terrorism." Head of the All-Ukrainian Jewish Congress, Vadim Rabinovich, was present, as was founder of the Ukrainian Jewish Committee, Alexander Feldman. Another pro-Israel rally will reportedly be held in the city's Maidan Square this Sunday. Israel's Air Force is holding its largest ever international exercise. Air forces from the United States, Greece, and Poland participated in the massive military drill, which was taking place in the Arava Desert in Israel's south for the last week and a half. It concludes on November the 3rd. UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, recognized Nazi hunting couple Serge and Bita Klarsfeld this week for their life work and given new roles as ambassadors. The Klarsfelds have dedicated much of their lives to finding former Nazis, including the infamous Klaus Barbie, known as the Butcher of Lyon, who was convicted in 1987 for ordering a raid on a Jewish orphanage outside the city. He later died in prison. It was announced on Monday that the Klarsfelds will now work with UNESCO to help prevent genocide in such places as the Middle East and Africa. UNESCO Director General Irina Bokova said to the Klarsfelds, "You have done more than hand out justice. You gave a name, a face, and a unique story to those whom some aimed to wipe from the surface of the earth." Thousands are expected to gather tomorrow night at Rabin Square in Tel Aviv to remember Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin at the culmination of week-long events marking 20 years since his assassination. The gathering is being held at the location where Rabin was shot and killed by Israeli extremist Yigal Amir, who is serving a life sentence for the assassination. Tomorrow's rally will unite Israelis from many sectors of society under the banner "Remembering the Murder, Fighting for Democracy." Former U.S. President Bill Clinton, who had developed a close working relationship with Rabin and was in office when Rabin was murdered, will speak at tomorrow's rally, as will Israeli President Reuven and Rabin's daughter, former Deputy Defense Minister Dalia Rabin. And looking now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, October the 30th. At 6 o'clock, live Shabbat services are coming up from New York City's Central Synagogue. At 8 tonight, Dr. Jeffrey Gurach looks at sports and American jewelry. At 9, the film Purple Lawns. At 10, Red Tent author Anita Diamant talks about her new book, The Boston Girl. And 10:30, it's Musica with Asaf Avidan. And coming up right after this newscast tonight, IDF Sergeant in Reserve Ben Anthony introduces IDF Lieutenant Sur Golden, who talks about how Hamas refuses to return the remains of his twin brother Hadar, who was killed in Gaza. That's from JBS's exclusive TV coverage of the 2015 Christians United for Israel Summit. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, October the 30th, 2015. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.